I don't know when the first time was I saw a picture online of a Mark IV before, but kind of fell in love. I originally, first car I had was a Civic Si 8-gen and kind of didn't know what to do with it, but had the dream of having a Mark IV, and I ended up finding just a silver GTI VR6. When I bought that car, ECS was actually the very first person I ever bought anything from. I dropped a couple grand. I think I spent just as much with you guys as I did that. Had a few Volkswagens since I got this one, but this has been the most long-standing one that I've had. My name is Kynon Johnson, and this is my 2005 Volkswagen Jetta Wagon. When I first got it, I don't know that I really had an idea other than that I wanted it to be a diesel 5-speed. I think it took me a good year of talking the guy out of selling this one. As soon as I found out he was selling it, I actually sold my R32 Mark IV just to get this one. Once I started building it, I was still fairly new to the Euro scene. Didn't really know what was good, what was bad. You know, not everyone's opinion matters, but you try to do your own take on everything. So just kind of started seeing old, period correct stuff, and the whole car started with the front bumper. The valance is molded into the front bumper. This piece comes around and it's actually got a seam line about there, and it's molded into a Votex bumper. The center of the Votex was blown out, so I just ended up starting cutting and whittling and molding them together, shaving the side markers, kind of learning how to do plastic molding work on it. Ended up getting the rest of the body kit after that. So it took me about 3 years to get most of the parts. I got grille, side skirts, the wagon, spoiler. As far as the rest of the front end, it's actually got Matic headlight covers on it. Just kind of give it the trimmed out look. We've got Haggis mirrors on it, and then the wheels, they are AutoArt VYs, true 3-piece. It's all the original hardware on it except for valve stems, and then the front lips were actually brand new from the company. Went through, did all the brushed finish myself, just had someone gold plate the original chrome hardware, and then had 94 Co end up powder coating the brake calipers for me just recently. My favorite part of the car is the rear end. Everyone likes front shots. I'm kind of like a rear shot on this. Most of all of the custom work that I've done on this car ends up happening in the rear. The valance, they don't make many valances that are for the wagons. Normally they are just like a simple GLI or the Votex rear. I ended up finding 2 sedan valances and pieced them together. So in the side of it, I had to add about 1 inch to it on each side. And then I ended up cutting out 2 exhaust cutouts from a GLI valance and was able to mold them in so it still has actual material up in the arch of it. Found 2 4-inch Caractere exhaust tips, so they even kind of match with the rest of the kit. This piece was just put on this week, the very last piece of the actual body kit parts for the Caractere. This mid-wing, wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it when I made it, but I found a Freedom Designs mid-wing on a Golf in a junkyard. All the screws and everything were broken in it, so I ended up cut it out just to get this off and then make it. It's widened on each side to get out to the width of the wagon, and then I had to reshape the inner corners. It's all originally built out of fiberglass, so I just used fiberglass to mold it. So the interior of the car didn't used to be the highlight, in my opinion, of the car, but it kind of started to look like something whenever I saw that CoreWorks had imported a big container of parts. And I always said if I saw another set of the Audi S3 blue seats, I would buy them on the spot. These seats are out of an Audi S3. They are actually a direct fit front and rear to go into Mark IV. Kind of started the collar of the inside off, had Stitchcraft then carry the blue Alcantara on the doors, the blue stitching to go in with the boot, the Black Forest Industries shift knob. The steering wheel is out of a Volkswagen R32. The HVAC and the headlight knobs are out of a Seat Arosa. Brushed aluminum trim all around from like a GLI, ran all that, and I've got all black headliner that I wrapped myself all the black upper accessories. Ended up doing a OEM pet barrier. So the pet barrier in the back is actually retractable. So I've carried the theme of the Caractere outside, all the mid-2000s matching into the interior with the Caractere floor mats. I bought those brand new. Fit perfectly, kind of a little thing some people might notice. I'm sitting all weird just because I'm trying not to put my feet on them. They've been brand new and never had shoes on them, so I don't plan to do that now. Whenever I was doing the section subframe, I wasn't able to get the power steering reservoir to fit very well. So I was like, I might as well just get rid of that and we'll tuck it off to the side. Snowballed from there. I was gonna try to just tuck everything I could without pulling the motor. I was just in a tiny little garage when I was living out in California. Ended up, pulled the motor in that garage and started doing all the body work. I really hadn't done any body work to that point. I hadn't done any of the front bumper or anything from there. Did all the full wire tuck, so all of the wires come in up in the fender wells and then around up in the front of the motor. I've removed the glow plug harness to kind of clean up the front motor. I don't drive this in the wintertime, so don't need any of the glow plugs. Swapped everything to the PD150 intake manifold. I sanded the cast down and polished it out. Ran the Dark Side Developments race pipe with their intake and intercooler. Still just stock turbo, but it has as hot of a tune as you can get just on a stock turbo. Ended up doing a Diesel Geek short shifter. Got a Swoops brake reservoir, just kind of clean it up, get rid of the plastic, polished it out. And then I actually do a lot of 3D modeling in SolidWorks. Each side where the harnesses used to come through, those are actually 3D printed plastic pieces that I drew up and then sanded them and had them painted to go in here. All the hardware and the whole bay is all Zealous Manufacturing. Got about 75% done drawing up a billet valve cover for it so I can have that polished, and I actually have a chromer now so I can end up getting all my bare aluminum chromed. Stock engine mounts right now, I do plan to swap that out, but at the time I was doing the shave bay with little to no money. I think I did everything with like 250 bucks. So I just sanded and then did a brushed finish on the OEM motor mounts, just to remove the wipers and kind of filled in the cowl area to kind of clean things up off the windshield, open them up. So the suspension on the car was originally bagged, but it just had the Slam Series airlift struts on it and had all stock suspension components up front. I've got drop plates on it now, so it actually scoots the whole hub back from the rear beam and then also lifts it up just slightly to kind of get the geometry better in the rear. And then I have an extra degree of camber. So I think I'm at like -3 and 5. I don't like a whole lot, but to be able to get the tuck fitment in the rear, I kind of have to do that. Up front, I've got Audi TT or R32 control arms and spindles. I have a Halbach fabrication 1-inch raised subframe. Then I have custom upper camber plates. They're fixed. They're kind of like the Swoops fixed camber plates, but I think it's just got just a little bit more camber. It's as much as you can go in without taking out the tower. I had to take out all the lining and just paint inside the finish because the bag was rubbing on that. It was so close. So it's as much as you can get without adding ball joint extenders or anything else that way. Originally, what got me into cars was my dad was always in the lowrider scene back in early 90s. When I was born, I rode home in a car that is actually here today. It's a lowered, bow-legged 91 Geo Storm. Always saw pictures of that car growing up. Just kind of aspired to eventually have a car that looked as cool as that one. I just love bag cars. Coming from seeing lowriders all the time, hydraulics, they start migrating into air ride over the years. Love seeing a car on the ground. You don't have to have high horsepower in a lowered car to have fun. Go around, scrape on the ground, rub a couple fenders and drive the things. It's fun to me. So this is one of the last years that I'm gonna probably be showing it in this form. The main thing that I wanna do is completely strip it down all suspension off, powder coat all the suspension, redo the engine bay work, completely swap up the collar, do a few things on the outside of the car, showing some miles here and there, but sometimes you got to build a car that you just want to drive, and I love driving it. So I'd say just don't listen to the people that necessarily want to try to down you for what you want to do. If you are passionate about something, go for it. Just take your time and do it how you like it.